and welcome to Fantasy for the Ages, the show where father and son sit down and talk about fantasy books. I'm the son of that equation, Zach.
And I'm the father, Jim. Thanks for being with us again here today for another one of our episodes. We're glad to be here. We're glad to be able
hmm
to talk with each other and to talk with all of you. Zach, how you doing today?
Today, I'm doing pretty well. Generally, in regards to me, my life, my health, things are going better than they were the last time that I was, talking to people here. Uh, I'm pretty much entirely recovered from everything. I still have a little bit of stuff to cough up occasionally, so I do occasionally get a cough, but otherwise, I'm me. I've got energy back. I am not wearing my glasses currently because these last couple days I've been getting hit with some migraines, but I'm dealing with it accordingly and should be okay. How are you doing,
Yeah,
Dad?
I'm doing well. I mean, there has been a gap of time since we've done a recording together because I was on vacation
Mm-hmm.
and I'm still on vacation today and tomorrow. I'm still kicking it. Today was a lot of catching up on a lot of home things after having been gone for a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. But it's nice to have the time. I did sleep in this morning. I didn't get up till
Mm.
goodness, like 8 o'clock.
I like how that's your sleeping in. Some people that's like, ooh, you had to get up early for work, and it's like, well, no.
Well, and the thing is, I didn't go to bed until almost 2:30 this morning because
Mm.
we flew to Seattle, late flight, and then drove home. So I'm like trying to stay awake while your mother is sleeping because she had to be at work this morning. So,
I'm sure you had like a good audiobook or something to keep you up.
yes, in my ears, I was listening. I had these on so she could sleep. I was listening to Sword of Destiny, The Witcher. Yeah. And the last half hour, I had to switch over to music because I was getting too drowsy just listening to a story. I had to do something
Mm.
I could sing along with and be a little bouncier. I looked
Fair
like a
enough.
goofball, I'm sure, but it was 2:30 in the morning. Nobody can see me.
Well, I'm sure somebody might have.
Well, nobody with lights, woo, 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 because I'm swerving all over the road. So
Well,
apparently
that's
I was
good.
doing all
You,
right.
you
Yeah.
made it. You made it safe.
I mentioned I just got back from vacation. I do have a
Yes.
couple of photos, proof that I was out there having a good time. So I thought I'd share. You're supposed to share photos when you do something cool, right?
Are any
So
of these photos where we're gonna see that you're a lobster?
no, no, and we'll pretend that never happened.
I'm not pretending anything of the sort.
So this is a nice one. We're at the front of the ship. There's another picture where your mother is doing the "I'm the king of the world" thing, and
Ah,
I'm yeah. But this is the front. That's looking back, the bridge behind us there, and all that. It was nice, nice time on the cruise ship out in the Caribbean. We were very negative about being on the ship. Do you get the joke?
no.
In order to go on a cruise, you have to test for COVID before they let you on.
Ah,
So we
that
were
was your
all
point.
negative. That's why we're on the cruise ship.
Well, I'm glad you were negative.
Yes. And the other is, we do excursions on a cruise ship. So you get off at islands and do things. And, well, man, this one was rough. It's definitely worth sharing a picture because on this particular cruise, my son,
Mm-hmm.
I went to hell and back.
Oh, well, at least they got mail there.
There you go. Yeah, it's a whole tourist thing, and there's a cool geologic formation that I have pictures too, but that's not as fun to show.
I don't know.
So,
Rocks rock.
well, rocks do rock. All right. I won't disagree with that. So that's enough about cruising.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm doing some extra recordings this week. We're recording multiple times this week because, yeah, I did miss all that time on vacation. But fun to get together with you and talk about stuff again today.
Fair enough. Leaving cruising alone. Let's switch to boozing. Are you drinking anything?
I am, and it's very boring. Okay, I'm drinking wine. I've got a
Yes.
nice. It's dark. It's a real dark one. You can't even see through that.
Yeah, a little
It's
bit.
a Pinot Noir. which is always a
Okay.
very dark wine. Very popular in Oregon. There's a reason, though, for wine. It's not just laziness. On a cruise, you drink. You drink a lot. And you drink a lot of cocktails and Caribbean fruity rum things and all. And so I had a lot of great drinks. But at dinner, I'd order wine. And the cruise industry is still recovering from the pandemic. So their wine
Mm.
cellar is not well stocked. There are a
Mm.
lot of things we'd order. Oh, we don't have that one. Oh, we don't have that one yet. But it's on their list. But they didn't have it. So I had a lot of mediocre wine on the cruise. I decided I needed some good stuff when I got home. So there you go.
See, I wouldn't have good stuff at home. With my budget, I'd be drinking mediocre wine at best. So
Well, with your budget, what are you drinking today?
I am also keeping it quite boring. I'm just drinking beer.
It looks like a pale ale of some kind or an amber.
I believe it's technically a pale ale, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
It definitely wasn't the stout or porter type that I prefer. All right. A couple other notes before we talk about the Wheel of Time, and it's tied to stuff we're reading that I wanted to mention.
Ah,
You know,
yes.
being on the cruise, I had time to read, and I finished The Expanse, which was absolutely freaking awesome. Tonight, I'm going to start watching the TV series.
It sounds expansive.
Yes. Great book, though. I mean, the series, 9 books and a bunch of short stories and novellas that fit in, but I've consumed it all. Great ride, excellent storytelling, great character development in that they're genuine. I mean, it's sci-fi, and yet the characters are very deeply flawed individuals, like people really are.
People are flawed. Yeah, no.
There's no
that's fair.
perfect archetypes on this series, but there's definitely the good guys and the not good guys, but some of the good guys are not really good guys, and yet they
Yeah,
are
that happens.
acting good here. You know, I loved it. So highly recommend it. Now I've moved on to Jordo's first recommendation to me, the Fionavar Tapestry, Guy Gavriel Kay. So just starting book 1 of that trilogy.
All right.
What about you, Zach? Because I know you've also recently accomplished something I consider significant.
I've been reading some. I believe by the last time we had been recording, I had finished the audiobook for Way of Kings. And then I sat down and physically read Words of Radiance, which as of this afternoon, I finished.
Awesome. How do you compare it to the first one? You know, better, the same, worse?
I think it built on it, so it did get better.
I felt the same.
I don't necessarily have too much of a feeling of disliking either one.
No. It wasn't about that.
But I'm not at the point of calling either one a pure masterpiece or anything either. They were good books. I enjoyed them. I'm excited to read what's next. However, I am going to be taking a break from reading those a little bit, read some other things. I did something weird for me today, but really normal for you, which is to say I sat down and wrote out a TBR. Is this actually going to be followed? Probably not, but loosely about 6 books out in listening to audiobooks and about 10 books out in order reading in paper. So we'll see if I actually follow it or if I just jump around and change my mind.
Yeah.
Not all of them I already have on the shelf waiting.
Okay.
But it'll be a fun time. Currently, it's working through the second half of the 5th season, which I still have not finished.
Yeah, you got to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I am bucking my... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, in other good, fun reading news, I mentioned I needed to mention this to everyone listening. Rachel is almost done with The Hero of Ages. She's finally done with her grad school semester. She's got more time to read, so she's going to be finishing that soon. So before too long, we should be getting those ladies back here and finishing out our series on that first Mistborn trilogy.
Nice. Very good. I had to actually depart from my TBR to choose what I'm reading now, because what was next on my TBR was the Wayward Pines trilogy, which is still only available in physical form.
Mm,
And I don't buy physical books anymore.
you
So
could.
they're going to
Physical
drop
books are
on
great.
Kindle in October. So I've just pushed them down a little bit. I'll still get to them this year, but it's got to wait till October.
I will say physical books, still great. You could do it.
But I have so many already all over the house.
Never
You
too
know,
many.
certain ones certainly can be physical. But speaking of, you see the hole back there? Your mother's up to Winter's Heart now.
Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. No other notes here of significance right now. So why don't we start talking about these 2 chapters from The Shadow Rising?
Back to the Wheel of Time. Let's go.
Chapter 30 picks up immediately after chapter 29. In fact, Perrin at the end of 29 just broke down in tears, and here he's still crying. Okay. Fail is still holding his head to her chest, and he's just overwhelmed, confronting the truth that his family is all dead now.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a reason to cry.
Yeah. Remind us, they're dead from what?
As far as we know, Trollocs. There
Yeah.
are more Trollocs in the Two Rivers, and they attacked, sacked, burned out the whole Ibarra farm.
And they believe the Trollocs are getting in through the Waygate. Well, they've locked the Waygate, but you can imagine Perrin potentially feeling, if I'd only come sooner, I could have beat the Trollocs, maybe. They wouldn't have gotten here before me. Maybe my family would all still be alive.
Maybe.
Now, as the tears, the sobbing comes to an end, he and Fail come to a new understanding. And they put the tension and antagonism of the past few days behind them, as Perrin agrees to stop trying to run her off.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And also, she's like, and can we agree there's no point now in you surrendering to the White Cloaks? And he's like,
I mean,
yeah,
a lot of the point had been, to spare the rest of his family, and
that's done. So, yeah.
A little late for that.
Fail now turns the conversation to something more productive in her mind, because we still do need to deal with both the Trollocs and these White Cloaks that are in the Two Rivers. Remember, the White Cloaks have some prisoners.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember which people? I mean, none of Perrin's family, but who is captive and held by the White Cloaks?
I believe, mind you, I don't remember because it's been a little while, so I don't remember if we have actually heard, but I believe what we know is that more or less Matt's family, as well as the blacksmith, Harold Luhan, and his wife.
That's it. That's exactly who they have captive. So we got to deal with that somehow. We got to get them free. So she's thinking, okay, to help with that, we kind of got to gather some forces here. We've got 5 to start. She's like, we've got me, we've got you, Perrin, we've got Gall, Bane, and Chiad. And if Loyal's willing to pick up his axe, then we have 6.
I mean, honestly, even if he's not willing to pick up an axe, you've got 6.
Just being his dominant presence.
He can do a lot of good without an axe.
What I'd want to know is, would the Trollocs be going, yay, go? Would they confuse him for a Trolloc like everyone else does?
Probably not, but smells wrong.
Yeah. And then she, of course, goes to, also we know Tam Althor and Abel Cawthon are out there somewhere. So if we can track them down,
I'm sure they would help, considering,
absolutely,
what we know.
And then maybe this Lord Luke we've heard about, who's been kind of helping with advice and guidance and stuff, a hunter for the horn. Maybe he could be recruited.
Maybe. Granted, the last time we really heard of lords that were proclaiming themselves hunters for the horn, they were kind of lying and had thrown Gall in a cage. So, maybe not.
Yeah, she does note that not all hunters of the horn are of quality. She even notes,
but others.
Well, hang on, because she gives a particular line that's great. She says, I've met some who think they know everything and are stubborn as mules besides. And Perrin, deadpan. I know. And she looks at him, and he
Well, I'm
manages.
sure he wasn't talking about her.
Bullcrap. Bullcrap. Because he manages not to smirk and quickly adds on, remember those two we came
Plausible
across in the same
deniability.
time
He wasn't
that
talking about
you.
Fael.
He so was also talking about Fael. That was nice. So, okay, if we're going to find these other two, they turn to the Alviers to get some information. Where might we find them? And Bran's the one in the room with them at the moment, and he has no idea. They're out in the Westwoods somewhere. And he doesn't think his wife, Marin, really knows more than that either. But he suspects if she does know, she's probably not going to be willing to help. He says, she's already decided, Perrin, that you need to leave. It's not safe for you to stick around here. And good luck trying to talk her out of that. Once a woman sets her mind, you better just doing what they want you to do. So they rejoin Marin, Loyal, and the three Aiel in the other room, the kitchen. And Perrin gives a little speech about the need to stay, that he's got work that has to get done before he can go, including rescuing the two Rivers folk who are captive with the White Cloaks, and driving out or destroying every last Trolloc and Murdrel. And he hopes they'll be willing to help. But he understands if anybody feels like that's too dangerous, too risky, but still he's going to do what he's got to do. Well, Loyal and Gaul, they sign right up. Loyal's like, the fight here, the fight somewhere else, it's all the same fight. I'm happy to set my book aside for a little bit and let's just go.
It's like, maybe we don't like killing, but Trollocs really deserve it, so...
Bane and Chiad, they just look at Fael, and she's kind of like gives a little nod, and they're like, yep, we're in.
There wasn't ever really a question of whether or not Fael was in.
Yeah. Marin still is not pleased, but moves pretty quickly to, well, if you're gonna stay, then I guess we gotta find a place to hide you.
Yeah, it goes from you're getting out of town to, well, if I can't convince you of that, here, let's do this.
I literally picture Bran doing a what? A double take that his wife switched so quick.
Because if it was that obvious, then he'd be showing wife, and I'm sure he'd get a stern talking to later.
Well, and I agree with you that it's more inner. Because rather than being obviously, really, Marin, that's what you're doing now? He jumps right in and says, yeah, so we should try to find a place for them to hide. What about the old sick house? We got the new sick house because the old one was kind of destroyed by that windstorm a few years back. But it could still kind of be a little bit of a shelter. And Marin seems kind of surprised that he mentions the old sick house. But yeah, that might be a place that could work. I'll take them out there. He's like, no, I got it. No problem. I can take them. And she's like, Bran,
I'll take them out there.
Well, she points out, everyone pays attention to you, Mr. Mayor. So you leading a party out of town, that's not exactly down the down low.
I don't think it's a great excuse because, let's be honest, everyone pays attention to Mara and Elvira as well. They're kind of popular people in town. But
then Perrin comes in saying, well, I know where that is. You don't have to lead us out there. She's like, no.
Here.
I got this. I'm happy to escort you guys out. It's a little weird.
Something sus.
So they head out there, but the moment they step out just to get their horses, the jig is up, they think, perhaps, because good old Sen Bowie is sitting there.
Perfect.
Yeah. Sen has seen all the horses. These are new in town. He's curious. He's nosing around, especially this one really big horse, Loyal's horse.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come walking out, he sees Loyal and he's like, Trolloc! Marin's like, you old fool, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Master Loyal is an Ogier. Hello. But then he sees Perrin. He's like, you, dark friend. Really?
Sen Bowie, as an old man, needs to grow up.
Marin just kind of gives him what for, whacks him back and forth verbally a little bit, twists him up in some knots, and by the time she's done with him, they're pretty sure he'll keep the secret now. He doesn't really think Perrin's a dark friend. He's not going to run to the White Cloaks because he doesn't want to be like the idiots in town who do run to the White Cloaks.
He may be Senbui, but he's not a Coplin or a Conger.
Oh, that's part one of the things Marin drops on him. Not even the Coplins and Congers run to the White Cloaks. You want to be worse than that? Yeah. So fine. Let's get out there now. We think Sen will keep his mouth shut. They have a fairly quiet, peaceful walk out into the woods a ways. And then Perrin smells the scent of men. And just after that, a little rustle in the woods. The Aiel all perk up. And, Marin's like, no. Oh, calm down. And a couple of men step out of the woods. Warders. How can they tell they're warders?
Because they've got these wonderful color-shifting cloaks that help them blend into the surrounding foliage.
That's right. And when there's warders, there must be
Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
Granted, there doesn't need to be, but there are.
And Perrin's mind jumps to that right away. What? There's Aes Sedai out here? What's going on? And Marin says, yes, we of the Women's Circle agreed to hide a couple of Aes Sedai out here. No one else in town knows. Bran doesn't know. It's all hush-hush on the down low. Why would Aes Sedai need to be hidden, Zach?
Well, there's a bunch of white cloaks in the Two Rivers. And let's just say, if you've seen the TV show, you know they don't really get along very well. It could turn pretty Salem on the Aes Sedai, and that's not a good idea.
Wait. I've seen an Aes Sedai willing to give a hand to White Cloaks.
I think the mistake you make there is willing.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so not a good deal. Hiding out because there's White Cloaks in town. Perrin is less than thrilled with Aes Sedai being around. Because he notes, okay, there's Aes Sedai, and then there are Aes Sedai. What does he mean by that?
Well, there's Moraines, which are annoying and insufferable at times to some characters like Perrin, but overall good and seeking out good things and not too imposing. And then there's the Elidas, who muck up into things and go, I look down on you, I take advantage of you because you're working into my plots. And maybe even, oh, you have the golden eyes. Maybe that's a channel thing. Maybe we should, do something about that.
Well, chapter 31 moves on to reveal that there are specifically two Aes Sedai here. And what kind are they? Are the Moraine type or the Elida type? Well,
we'll see.
Each of them has a warder. So there's two warders, one with each of those, which tells us, well, they're not red. Red don't like them menfolk much.
Nah, they don't take warders, really.
No. Perrin knows one of these Aes Sedai as they enter into the shack once the warders have cleared it. Okay, so they enter in, and one of them is Varen Mathwin, sister of the Brown Aja. We're very familiar with Varen.
Perrin's not sure whether this is good news or something a little funky.
Why do you say that, Zach?
Because of all the Aes Sedai around, excluding Moraine, Varen's the other one who might have an inkling of his possibilities and capabilities. Why would she be in the Two Rivers?
Right. He's also had a feeling that she's one of these few Aes Sedai that know more about him than most people do. She's got this thing about the three Tavirin, and it's kind of had her eye on things. So she seems okay, but he's not super comfortable with her. But the other one is perhaps worse. It's one he has seen before, Alana Masfani. She's Green Aja, but he doesn't know her like he knows Varen. However, Egwene referred to her once, and this
Mm-hmm.
is the one tidbit he has of her. Here's the quote. Egwene said to him, "Some Aes Sedai who shouldn't know about Rand show too much interest in him. Elida, for instance, and Alana Masfani. I don't think I trust either of them." And
And
Perrin's like, yeah,
so
so maybe I
Perrin,
shouldn't trust her.
yeah, trusting Egwene is like, um, I'm in danger.
Now, Meryn is all deferential to the Aes Sedai, but Perrin's, none of that. He demands to know, why are you two here? Why are you in the Two Rivers? Meryn's like, Perrin?
The disrespect.
Right.
They're just
Varen
Aes
takes it all
Sedai.
in
You don't have to.
stride.
You don't have to give them respect just because of a position. They're Aes Sedai. They're people too. People are people. Treat them with respect, but earn that respect.
But see, that's not how it tends to be in this world. You've got the ones that
hmm
totally honor and lift up and practically worship the Aes Sedai, and then you got the White Cloaks who just want to kill them.
To the eyes of a lot of people, including Meryn, Perrin is just horribly disrespectful to these people for no good reason. Whereas Perrin has been around Aes Sedai some, has been back and forth with Moraine and arguing, and to a certain extent has gotten jaded to their authority.
Yep. So he's not going to just accept things blankly. He wants justifications. He wants to know what's going on. Now, even though Meryn is shocked at Perrin's tone, Varen, she takes it in stride. She's like, no, it's okay. Perrin and I are old friends now. I get him. I understand.
And not sure he would use the word friends, but sure.
Probably not. And she dismisses Meryn to head back to town. Now, once Meryn leaves, Varen shares their sympathy for Perrin over the death of his family. But again, Perrin just brushes past that, says, you haven't answered my question. Why are you here? And now Fael's like, whoa, Perrin. Almost in the same way that Meryn had responded. She like took on the role now. But Perrin, he gives Fael's concern no mind. He insists, okay, wait a second. We got White Cloaks, we got Trollocs, and there's Aes Sedai here.
Oh,
it's
my.
awfully coincidental. You know, I want to know what's going on. So what does he learn? Well, the Aes Sedai were in the Two Rivers for a specific reason. Why were they here? It's not just chance, Zach.
Well, ostensibly, they're here to search for women who can channel. After all, Nynaeve and Egwene came out of the Two Rivers, and no one's really been searching the Two Rivers for a long time. So maybe there's strong blood, the old blood singing strong, and there could be a lot more people who could channel in the Two Rivers.
Now, there is a minor issue with that, in that the White Tower hasn't been searching for women who could channel much at all anywhere for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But these two have come to the Two Rivers because, well, Nynaeve and Nynaeve and Egwene are two of the most powerful that we've seen in hundreds of years. So you put that together with what you said, this is isolated community, the old blood. Maybe there's more. And they were in town, in the region, for just a couple of days. They'd already found 4. None of them as strong as Nynaeve and Egwene, but they'd already found 4. They thought there were maybe some more. They needed to explore a little, and then the White Cloak showed up. You don't go actively looking for women who can channel when the White Cloaks are in town.
Yeah, it's kind of like when the Spanish Inquisition is around and you keep stirring up unrest.
No one's prepared for the Spanish Inquisition.
It's expects. But if they do expect it, they're definitely not going to be bringing it towards them.
So they hid. Perrin is frustrated that they're just hiding. Shouldn't they be doing something to help? And Alana explains, okay, you don't understand the difficulty that the White Cloaks cause us. What does she mean? What is the difficulty Why can't they just go out and start zapping them with lightning bolts?
See, the problem is Aes Sedai take these oaths, right? They can't go guns a-blazing. Certain things, sure, they could go out and try to annihilate Trollocs. Dangerous as it might be, that's totally okay. But when a whole bunch of just men, they may be vile, horrible people that do awful things. They may, some of them be horrible and some of them be just misaligned. Some of them may even be dark friends, but without knowing that, they can't take action. Sure, they could go out and talk, punch a guy in the face, maybe, but they can't use the power.
Yeah, it's the oath is very explicit. They can use the power against dark friends, but they have to know they're dark friends. As you said, vile. They can't just suck. They have to be dark friends.
They can,
Shadow Spawn, go for it.
They can use the power in the defense of their own life, but it's a last resort defense of their life, another sister, or their warder.
So I'm glad you pointed that out. That's one of the things Alana clarifies. I came into the Two Rivers with 2 warders. The White Cloaks killed one of them. I wasn't physically with him at the time, but I felt his wounds. Each arrow that went into him, I felt the pain.
Basically, she felt Boromir's death from a distance.
If I'd been there, I could have defended him because he was being killed, but I wasn't. And when, then he's dead, I can't use the power just to avenge his death. It doesn't work that way. The oath doesn't let me.
So what I'm hearing is the Avengers definitely don't have any Aes Sedai on the team.
Wow, you're just working hard to get all these crossovers in, aren't you?
I am feeling healthier. I'm working it with the references.
Keep it up, my friend. Keep it up. Now, she does say, okay, as for Trollocs and Myrddraal, we have done our share of that. Okay, actually, Varen's the one clarifying this now. But we're limited as to how many we can go after. Mm-hmm. Because the Myrddraal, the Fades, they can sense channeling to a degree. So if we make our presence too clearly known, they're just going to bring all the Trollocs of the world down on top of us. And there's only 2 of us.
So, like, we might blow up some of them.
Guerrilla warfare.
50 out of 5,000 and we die. That's not enough.
Now, Perrin is struck here by the thought of how much weaker these 2 Aes Sedai are from what he saw with Rand. Because Rand, by himself, wiped out every Trolloc in the Stone of Tyr.
Granted, he also was holding Kalimdor.
But the comparison, he realizes that's what he was judging what they could be doing based on.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, why can't you do the thing that the Dragon Reborn carrying one of the most powerful weapons for power-related people ever could do? Well, because you're normal.
Now, at this point in the conversation, Alana realizes Perrin is wounded. He'd been speared in the thigh, remember, way back at the battle to get out of the Waygate. So he's been hurting for a while here. And he kind of flinches with the pain at that moment. So she comes over and she starts looking at it, and she's going to heal him. As she's caring for him, the talk continues about the ways, and how that happened and how they traveled using the ways. And they found the Trollocs had been using the ways, so they've locked the Waygate now, and all that stuff. And Alana, she's just shaking her head. I don't understand why the Amyrlin just let you 3 ta'veren wander all over the world like you're doing with, going through the ways and stuff. You're making crazy decisions. I don't get that. She says, with the last battle approaching, you guys should be coordinated. We should have ties to you. I would have tied strings to you. So maybe I even would have bonded you. And Perrin starts to pull away. She's like, no. I'm not so lost yet that I would bond a man against his will. Not quite yet. Yeah, we're just going to let that hang there.
Now, Alana very clearly is showing what a lot of the Aes Sedai in the tower probably feel and think. It's a very common feeling. It makes sense. But it also kind of shows a misunderstanding of ta'veren that I think, to an extent at least, Moraine, Swan, and Varen all demonstrate that they at least have some grasp over. That Varen, to an extent, can't be fully tied and controlled. Cajoled, maybe. But they weave things around them.
Even the Taviran don't fully understand Taviraning. And we're going to get to that in just a moment in this conversation. But before we get that far, a couple new arrivals show up. They hear footsteps outside, and then, ta-da, walking in the door, Tam Althor and Abel Cawthon.
Hey,
Well,
we were just
booyah!
looking for y'all. What a coincidence.
They're holding 4 rabbits they got. They were out hunting, clearly. And they aren't shocked to see people in there with the Aes Sedai. They must have been able to see signs that, oh, yeah, there's horses outside, But they didn't
like that
know
one of their reactions really is, man, if only we could have caught like a deer instead of these rabbits. We don't have enough food.
We don't have enough food now. Yeah. So they are surprised to see who's there. It's like, whoa, there's an Ogier. Oh, there's Aiel. Tam, there's a little glint in his eye. He recognizes Aiel right off the bat. Why? We know all about Tam's history by now. Yeah.
He's killed plenty of them.
He has. But when they see Perrin, they're excited, and what about Matt? What about Rand? Are they here too? No. Well, what can you tell us? And well, he shares. Well, last I saw them, they were in Tyr, and Varen does a tiny little twitch, and Perrin notices that. Why would Varen twitch a little bit when hearing Rand's in Tyr?
Well, Varen may definitely know that Rand's the Dragon Reborn, and definitely knows about prophecies, including the stone falling and Kalendor, and even if she hasn't heard rumors of what happened in Tyr, because maybe she was in the Two Rivers, where it's literally the last place to get information, she knows why they're in Tyr.
Right. What Perrin does share specifically about them in Tyr is that, well, last time I saw Matt, he was winning at playing dice and he was kissing the girls. And Abel's like, well, yeah, that sounds about right for Matt. And Rand, he was wearing a fancy coat and had a pretty golden-haired girl on his arm.
Technically, that's not false.
That's spot on.
But that is an Aes Sedai truth if I ever heard one.
He's already learning. Don't tell more than you have to. And this comes from Perrin realizing, maybe it's not my job to share key information about these others, especially Rand, that maybe people shouldn't necessarily know yet.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't tell everyone everything all the time.
Maybe not. The Aes Sedai, now they're clearly, listening into all of this conversation, and Perrin's like, I'd like to talk with these guys a little more without them. So he says, Tam, Abel, you want to step outside with me? Let's get some fresh air. So,
because clearly that would stop magic people from eavesdropping.
They don't all have a little dot thing hanging here that they can use to eavesdrop. That's Maureen's trick.
Doesn't mean others don't have something similar. We don't know.
Fael starts to get up and he looks at her and just gives a little shake of the head, and she sits right back down and he's like, that worked? He's kind of shocked.
All I had to do was serious, subtle facial expressions this whole time. Or like have all my family die and she listens.
He still does not have her figured out at all.
No,
clearly.
Not a clue.
Outside, there's a little light-hearted banner. They give him a little crap about the beard he's wearing now, And oh, that woman, she's your oh yeah, that's gonna be fun, But they get on to the more serious stuff. We learned Ham and Abel, they don't stay here where the Aes Sedai are. They have different place out in the woods, but they had done some healing for them, so they hunt for them. They bring food. That's kind of their payment back for the healing, because we don't want them having ties on us. You don't let the Aes Sedai get hooks in you. Perrin gets that.
I do think it's interesting and kind of funny that Tam and Abel did think to hide there, and they just already found the Aes Sedai already hidden there by the women's circle. But then also Bran Alvear was like, oh, we could hide him out there. And so like everyone in town thinks of this place as the perfect hiding place. Clearly none of them are working with the White Cloaks to tell them, hey, if there's people hiding, they're going to be at that one place that everyone thinks is the perfect hiding spot.
Seriously, you've got a good point there. So yeah, they did think to go here. The Aes Sedai were already there, and in fact, that was a tense situation when they showed up. The warders easily could have killed them, but Merrin and some of the women's circle happened to be there at the same time. So, oh no, they're okay. Don't kill them. Don't kill them.
One
But
of them
then
happened
the
to
Aes
slip.
Sedai,
That's Rand's dad, and Varen was like, "Oh yeah, we shouldn't kill him."
yeah, the Aes Sedai really backed off. Not just Rand's dad. Oh, Matt's dad too. Remember, she knows this Taviran thing. So yeah, then they seemed very interested in them. That's kind of set Tam and Abel off a little bit too. Why are they so interested in our boys?
At that point, they became pieces on the chessboard.
It's from Alana actually who dropped the comment about Taviran. That's the first they'd heard anything about Matt, Perrin, Rand being Taviran.
Mm-hmm.
And so they ask him, have you seen any signs of this? I mean, are you? Perrin's like, well, no, I haven't seen anything in myself or in Matt. And Tam clearly notes he didn't say Rand. He didn't mention Rand there. And he has a thought, Perrin has a thought, just of, dang it, I gotta get better at lying.
Perrin, you could have just been like, nah, not really. And not worried about including Matt, because then it shows that you're excluding Rand.
Yeah. Now, Tam also notes, Perrin, my boy, it may just be that you're not really seeing the signs. Because we're looking here and you're traveling with an Ogier and 3 Aiel.
Mm-hmm.
To us, that's rather Taviran-ish.
Yeah, we looked around where you were staying and we saw a whole bunch of glasses of half-filled water.
I didn't entirely get that. What?
You were looking for all the references. I'm reaching to signs.
I didn't. I'm glad I asked though, because I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other people going to be watching this later, going, "What?" But now I get it. Signs have the water. Yeah. Okay. We get confirmation here also in the conversation that Tam and Abel had traveled to Tar Valon to find out what had happened to them all. Now, remember, Matt had gotten that information back in Tar Valon, but Perrin never did. So this is where Perrin learns, yes, they had gone after them, and the Keeper of the Chronicles gave them a bunch of gold and a bunch of assurances and sent them back home. We also learn there's ravens everywhere these days. They've been shooting them down anytime they can.
Well, that's
There's my Hawkeye move there.
Because the ravens part is not so good.
No. The ravens have actually been attacking the flocks. Ravens attacking sheep, taking them down. Perrin isn't totally shocked by that. Why?
Nah, he's seen that happen before. Maybe not with sheep, but he's definitely seen it with the fox. Definitely imagined it with himself and Egwene.
Yeah. Some of the animals in the area are being killed just for sick fun of some sort. They've been finding some livestock, some wild animals just dead, mangled, not skinned necessarily, sometimes skinned, but clearly not being hunted. Not being taken for
food. They're not having their pelts taken really, and nothing that would be usable or interesting.
They know it's a man or men doing it because there have been large boot prints at the scenes of the crime. Not so big as Trollocs.
And not hoof prints like you would find if they didn't have feet.
For Perrin, ding, light bulb goes off. Slayer. Slayer's been here in the real world, not just in the dream.
Also, he has relatively smaller feet, so you're not looking for a guy with size 15s. I'm just saying, size 15s would be really easy to find Slayer. Like, if you were looking for a guy with really big feet, if it's that big, you could Cinderella find Slayer.
Okay. They move on then to discussing what it will take to free the people from the White Cloak camp. And Tam and Abel are like, yeah, that's going to be very hard. There's 700 or 800 men in the camp down by Watch Hill.
Watch Hill.
It's well patrolled. And even if we find a way to get them free, hiding them will be tricky. The people in the two rivers are scared. They're not likely to want to help. They don't want to risk their own necks. They kind of feel stuck between white cloaks and Trollocs, and they're just trying to keep their heads down and hope they don't get ground between these two forces. And Perrin's like, really? Kind of thought better of the two river people.
Hey, the two rivers people survive.
Basically, Abel and Tam, they're not very optimistic about being able to do anything for those who are prisoners. But Perrin refuses to let his determination flag.
Doesn't matter, we're doing it.
We are getting it done. The chapter goes on to 2 additional point of views, shorter ones than what we had so far. First, we're going to jump over to Dane Bornhold.
Remember, good old Bornhold.
Commander of the Children of the Light here in the Two Rivers. We pick up with him as he's returning to that camp by Watch Hill with a patrol. He had taken 100 soldiers out on patrol, and he's coming back with 89 and 11 dead bodies.
Well, that's not great, but considering the fact that he was ambushed by Trollocs in a planned attack, it's actually pretty good. I mean, he got out pretty
if they weren't better soldiers, he realizes this could have been slaughter. And you said a key word there, planned attack. They didn't like stumble upon some Trollocs at their camp or
they was
attacking a farm.
Setup of this is a good spot. There's something that trees falling across the road. Guess we should go clear it and attack. Maybe not that obvious.
Trollocs intentionally planned to attack the patrol. That's disturbing. But what's worse is it's the 3rd time it's happened while Dane was out on patrol with a group. There haven't been other patrols attacked like that. From Dane's group, it's when Dane has taken a group out. What does this tell you? He's disturbed by this. What does he suspect?
Suggest that somehow, some way, the Trollocs not only know when they're patrolling and where they're patrolling and who is leading that patrol, but they have a specific vendetta to target Dane Bornhold.
Yeah. Someone's feeding them information in some way. If they've got a vendetta, they're trying to get to Dane. Who's feeding them the info? Are there Trollocs somehow close enough that they're spying? Is there someone in camp who's working for the enemy? I mean, it's all really messed up. And he's troubled by this because we're white cloaks. No, he doesn't think that. We're children of the light. We're not supposed to be that way. His thoughts jump then to a group nearby. There's an encampment of the traveling folk, the Tuatha. And they seem to be preparing to live up to their name. They're packing up. They plan to travel. He sends one of his men over there. Says, just clarify with what was they call that guy? The Seeker? I think it's the Seeker. Yeah, Rain. That guy, Rain. Tell him, reminder, they can go south if they want to travel. They can't leave. There's no going out of the Two Rivers, okay? They can go further in and check things out. But what's his concern? What does he want to make sure?
Yeah, Dane doesn't want information getting out to the rest of the world, especially not the rest of Andor, that they're in here messing around with the Two Rivers. White Cloaks aren't really welcome. I mean, sure, they're welcome in the sense that they're not actively getting hunted and kicked out, but they're not liked. They're only vaguely tolerated, and they have no authority.
Yeah. We learn a few other things from Dane's thoughts. One, he's proud of the order and discipline of his troops. He looks at, the campsite. They're all in beautiful rows, great picket lines. Everything is a sense of order and care. He's glad that they were able to kill a warder Now, we heard already a warder was killed. Okay, so it
Hmm.
was his troops killed a warder their second day here in the Two Rivers because it proved to Dane and to his men that there's Aes Sedai here meddling around. That's justification right there for being in the Two Rivers.
Not that, he needed any.
Nah, he had orders. He's here because of orders. We learn about the prisoners and that he is seeing to it that they are kept secure, well guarded, but
Hmm.
also they're not being mistreated. There
Correct.
are some of the children who'd like to see them tortured, pressed for information. Child Bayar, for example. And he's like, no, we are not questioners. They look down on the questioners. We will not be acting like that. We are simply keeping them prisoner. And it doesn't even matter if maybe some of them are dark friends like Ordeith claims they are.
Hmm.
Dane's desire, another thing we have here, is that he wants to catch Perrin.
Yes, he needs to catch this dark friend, Perrin who led his father, Jeffrey Bornhold, to his death.
It's kind of been stewing in his mind, and as time goes on, that is the pressing need growing higher and higher and higher, no matter what his orders are. He also notes a smaller cluster of tents of the Children of the Light that don't look like the rest.
Yeah, cluster is a good word. It's, rather than the neat, orderly rows, a chaotic spread that just kind of there. It looks almost a little more run down, and it's noted that not just the tents, but also the men in them, not quite as put together as they should be for Children of the Light.
Stuff it isn't pressed and polished and neat, a little slovenly. And that's Ordeith's command. Those are the white cloaks that specifically answer to Ordeith. And thinking of Ordeith, Dane is frustrated. Ordeith is clearly pushing boundaries and
Now,
quite disdainful of Bornhold's command.
It is noted that there have been a couple other little attacks on patrols and adventures and conflicts that involved Trollocs, seemingly. Because there's been a few times that Dane sent some of his men, just a couple here and there, along with Ordeith and his men. And every time they seem to meet some sort of trouble. They get attacked. Something horrible happens. But only Dane's men seem to be the ones that end up dead.
So this is that funky thing that when he first got to Two Rivers, he had command. And he was sent by the Lord Captain of the Children of the Light, Lord Captain Commander Pedron Nile, to go and search out the Two Rivers and hunt out dark friends. Okay, great. That's what we do. Oh, but you'll also meet Ordeith, and he's there on mission as well. And it was not clarified. Are you in charge of Ordeith? Is Ordeith in charge of you? So Ordeith keeps doing what he wants and doesn't act like he has to answer to Bornhold. So when Bornhold says, okay, he keeps going off doing his things, I'm going to send a couple of guys along to see what he does on those missions that he takes on. Yeah, exactly what you said. They get attacked, but the only ones that die are Bornhold's guys.
It feels like a
does he think
position
I'm an
where he's
idiot?
like, Ordeith is killing my men.
Yes.
But I can't really do anything about it because I don't have any proof either.
So he orders Ordeith to report. Ordeith comes on in. He says, okay, tell me about the death of my men on your patrol. Ordeith starts weaving this tale. Oh, it was terrible. And he just takes his gauntlet and slaps him right across the face.
There's a lot of times that we're like, Dane, so far. But right now, in this moment, nah, we're with him.
Ordeith, he reacts nastily. He's like, how dare you? You know, I'm going to tell Pedron Nile and he's going to have you, he's like crazy man. And basically saying, you dare to touch me? I've got orders from the guy himself. I'm going to see that you are executed for such behavior, basically.
And Dane meets him threat for threat. He just turns around and just straight up, you'd have to live that long to do that.
It's cool. It's cold. It's calm. And Ordeith takes a step back. Whoa. And suddenly he takes a major step back because he changes personality. He's not this sniveling guy anymore. Now he's this grander personality, more commanding.
Which
And
kind of
his
adds
accent is
back
gone.
into Dane's discomfort.
Yeah, it's like, but this guy keeps switching people. This is not normal. This guy's clearly insane. Why did Pedro Nile send somebody with authority who's insane?
That's a good question.
Speaking of his insanity, Ordeath wants to torture, maybe even kill the prisoners. He uses the word flay. Let's flay them.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
He tells him, if we do this, it will truly draw out Rand al'Thor, Matt Cawthon, and Perrin Ibarra. And the way he says it, Dane's like, how does he know that's the one that's more important to me?
Oh yeah, he's definitely trying to push those buttons right. But
And we learn here then what Dane says, come on, I already covered up for what you did to the Ibarra family. What's that about?
At which point we basically get proof the Trollocs didn't kill Perrin's family, or Deeth and his White Cloaks did.
Yes. And he said, I didn't do that to protect you. I covered that up to prevent a direct rebellion from everyone in the Two Rivers. But I will not have you murdering children of the light. That's a line we're not crossing here.
It's kind of unfortunate that he draws the line at murdering children of the light and not just, murdering.
Ordeath uses this, though, saying, hey, remember those gray men that came in to try to attack me? Okay, so we haven't heard anything about that, but apparently 2 gray men walked right through the camp of the Children of the Light, past over 50 soldiers, and no one saw them until Ordeath killed them. He saw them. He killed them in defense, self-defense. And he says, why do you think I'm being attacked? The Shadow does not want me to succeed. That's all the justification you need. The Shadow wants to stop me. I must be justified in my actions.
If anybody knew how disjointed and threatening of each other the Shadow really was, I don't think that argument would stand up.
Ordeath drops a couple of other disturbing thoughts here. One is that, did you know you can die in a dream? It's kind of non sequitur, but what do you think he means by that, Zach?
I think he means something quite creepy.
I think he has some knowledge of something that he probably shouldn't have. He presses Dane. All you have to do is give me free reign. Just let me do what I did at the farm to the Ibarras. You just let me do whatever needs to be done, and I guarantee I will have you Rand al'Thor, Matt Cawthon, Perrin Ibarra. There's a pause.
Dane's tempted.
And Dane basically says, get out. Go.
He's not tempted enough. He still has a soul.
But then he gets the brandy and he's just going to start drinking. This is really screwing him up. We get that he wants to be the epitome of a Children of the Light. But he's in a horrible situation. And he doesn't know how to handle it.
And he holds a lot of vengeful hate right now. Speaking of vengeful hate, bad places, and messed up people, we're going to jump POVs here.
One last time. We're going to go with Ordeath now as he leaves. This is a gross POV to sit in. I love it. Don't like Ordeath's mindset.
I love seeing these chapter points.
So we get from here, Ordeath, he doesn't trust the White Cloaks. They are just tools to use. He's also rather pleased at how stupid they are, because it's easy to use them. Bornhold pushing a little bit, so he's thinking, I may need to dispose of him.
He's kind of like Bornhold.
He's a lot easier.
Brain.
Maybe I'll switch him out.
His prejudice and his zealous presence. That's what he really leads with. That's easy to manipulate.
Yeah. He does want to deal with the prisoners. Have the little flay party. But he agrees, I can wait a little longer on that. Control is important. And he acknowledges to himself, he lost control of the Ibarra farm. He kind of regrets that he just had them all slaughtered. Could have stretched that out. But they laughed in his face. They called him a fool for calling them dark friends.
I mean, they were right.
Oh, yeah. But he snapped. He snapped. However, again, icky, twisty mind, he still kind of smiles to himself, remembering what he did to them all.
Yeah, it's like, I regret it because it wasn't tactically good. I don't regret it.
No, that was good times, man. Good times. We learn he can feel that one of the three has returned. Somewhere down there near Emond's field, he can sense. Now, remember, he was turned into the Hound. He can feel where they are, general sense. So he knows one's back. He doesn't know which one.
Mm-mm.
Doesn't really matter which one, though. The only one who really matters is Randall Thor. And if only one's back, it's probably not Rand. He needs them all back, because then he knows he'll have the one. That's what's important. So he just needs to keep doing what he's doing, and it'll suck them all back in. That's his plan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why does he want Rand so much? Well, Rand's the Dragon Reborn. Yeah, he's the really, really, really bad one. We got to get rid of this one.
Ordeith buys into the whole main character syndrome and is like, that's what matters, right? I do that, then I get my own book.
But he also goes right on from Rand. Once I get done with Rand, then I can go deal with the tower. And I can get back what was taken from me, what was mine by right. What's he talking about, Zach?
We're talking about the White Tower, the thing that they took. Well, they didn't take it. Rather, Matcham Cawthon maybe took a thing that may seemingly belong to this man, which is to say, the dagger that he ran off with.
He wants that dagger back. That's
sure,
right.
The Horn of Valir was cool when he had it and stole it, but he didn't really care about it. He cared about the dagger.
Finally, Ordeith makes it back to his tent in that disorganized and seedy part of the camp, revealing a Myrddraal laid out, spread eagle, roped to the ground, chained to the ground, stretched out.
Oh, fun. They're flaying a Myrddraal. No wonder he's so interested in flaying.
Yet. There is a lot of light. I'll make sure there's no shadow for a Myrddraal to slip away into. And he asks if he's ready to accept Ordeith's proposal. And it says in its snaky voice, I accept. And release me. And Ordeith's like, not so fast. And now we're going to probably have a flay party.
Probably. I mean, Ordeith is just very curious what's under that eyeless face.
Now, my sense is that the two gray men that attacked, that this Myrddraal is the one who brought the gray men and sent them. Failed. And we already know Ordeith / Padan Fain has the ability to take down Myrddraal.
Now, I don't know if I fully buy into that Myrddraal sent thing, but it definitely was. Gray men were sent after him. That's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe this Padan Fain, not fully in line with the Shadow, but definitely not in line with our good guys.
Right. All right. That's the end of the chapter. That's the end of the episode. So we'll go into a spoiler room section in a moment, but before we do, just want to again thank everybody for being here. If you're a first-time listener, now's the time to jump out. First-time readers or listeners, Audible and all that, because we don't want to spoil things for you, but we do want to thank you for being here with us. Check out the show notes where you can find all the ways to interact with us, including joining us on Discord. Love to see you there.
Absolutely.
All right, let me play the graphic because it's time for us to spoil something.
The spoiler room. Hey, we made it. We're in the spoiler room.
Yes. So we need to roll. We haven't done this for a while.
Roll for initiative. Well, that's unfortunately horribly cocked.
Wow. That's the first time that's happened.
And that one?
No, the other way.
Oh, okay. I guess you get to go first.
I've never rolled the nat 20.
Because I definitely did not.
Okay. What I'd like to spoil here.
Does he go with the easy one?
there's plenty of good things I could spoil. Yeah, I'm going to go with the easy one. Come on.
I thought so.
Alana. She is totally thinking at this point, should I bond Perrin? No, I'm not ready to do that yet. But she's demonstrating she's thought about it already. And she says, literally, not yet. She's going to bond Rand later because she'll be in a similar, almost identical situation. Rand's been injured. She's going to heal him a little bit. And then while she's there and has the opportunity, zap, puts the strings on him that should have been on all three of them. It's set up right there.
How effective that is?
It doesn't work the way she expected, that's for sure. And those very strings end up hugely important to the final book. Almost devastatingly important.
So thank goodness Nynaeve has
herbs,
some combat medic training.
Yes, totally. All right, that was mine. I love, here's where it's first laid out. All right, what do you got, Zach?
I'm jumping. I'm going to jump to the White Cloaks here. Talking about Dane, Bayar, Perrin, and their relationship. The three of these men are going to continue on a books-long, series-long journey together. Not always together, but there's a lot of animosity here. There ends up being a whole trial thing. It's a whole mess.
Mm-hmm.
And right in this already, Bayar and Bornhold are basically brothers in this. And for the next year at least, continue on this path of fellowship, friendship, and mutual hatred of Perrin. And yet, in the end, Bayar sticks with, he's got to go. Whether of his own volition or not, it might be impacted by certain Forsaken. But Bornhold saves it, killing his friend. That moment hits. It doesn't even feel like that huge of a moment, but Bornhold saving Perrin and then not regretting it, but feeling terrible and walking away.
Yep.
It's a heavy moment.
Totally. Yep. Good. Right there. I like how in this moment, though, here, he does already point out that he's aware Bayar is not the sharpest tool in the shed.
No, he's
still going to be his friend, but man.
To that zealous vengeance.
Yeah. All right, there we go. One of our shorter episodes, but still over an hour, so good place to call it.
Yeah, I'm impressed we got through that like we did.
Well, it was only 2 chapters this time. Come on.
Sometimes that's taken us like 2 hours.
Yeah. All right, let me run our outro. There it is.
Thank you for watching or listening or all those things.
All the ways you can connect with us. It's just a fancy screen now where it all scrolls by, but you can find all this stuff in our show notes. Join us in Discord. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Send us emails. Any way you want to let us know what's on your mind. We are game.
If you want to support us or join us live, come find us on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can be a part of the show. At least in a very fun way through our Discord.
Yeah, we have no one with us today. That's unusual. We love having the fans with you. So come join us. And that's it. We'll talk to you next time.